Hey folks, what's up? It's Friday afternoon and I'm prepping for a shoot that I have next week. That's early for me, but it's because it's a huge one. And as I'm going through and packing my bag, or should I say bag, dozen bags or so, I thought this could be an interesting what's in my bag. If nothing else, it's by far the biggest that I've ever done. So let's get into it. Now, to start off, I should explain exactly what it is that we're filming because this kit is overkill for almost everything. I would say it's the most gear I've brought along to any project ever, hands down. Maybe like double of what I've taken on to any other project. I can't give away exactly what it is we're doing because it's a project that I'm going to announce in a couple of weeks, but what I can tell you, we're filming a new download video series. It's going to be something much higher production quality, much more complex, and with a much bigger cast of people involved than anything I've done before. So essentially, we're putting together a giant something that we're going to be photographing, and that itself is a huge event management task with all kinds of moving parts and a couple of dozen people and catering and all kinds of different vendors involved. And then we've got the other side of it, which is me filming, well, it's me shooting that, photographing it, and then 3 videographers filming it on the day, as well as support staff and yada, yada, yada. So that's why we have so much gear. This is to cover me and all of that support staff. So where to begin? Should have hit the gym more in the last few weeks. First up, this is the videography bag. Now, the videographers are all comfortable with Sony, so thanks to Lens Pro to Go, I've rented in a bunch of equipment from them to have a complete kit across 3 videographers. So right now we have a Zhiyun crane down with Joey, who's one of the videographers who's balancing that out. He has an A7R III, 70-200, 24-70, and one of my manual lenses on adapter that he's going to be setting that up and balancing it out and getting used to it. So he's the one who is less familiar with Sony. Then we have a pair of A7 IIIs. Is this the 2? Yes. 16-35 and 85mm. I have the A7S2 along with a 50mm f2.8 macro. I have the 85 Bartus. You know, we've got, I know that's duplication, 2 85s, but we do have 3 videographers, and one of them is going to be doing double duty of getting set stills as well. Then I have a 12mm fisheye, which I hope won't get used too much, but just in case. And we have already down there the 12mm 0D from Lauer. Now this is a lot of gear I can barely keep up with myself, but I will put links below so you can check out exactly what we're using. Then I have, on top of what's in the cameras, what have we got here? 8, 9 of the big batteries for the new generation of Sony cameras, a spare 4 for the older generation, the A7S2, and I may have my A7R2 just body in the bag as a reserve as well. This bag, being videography, has mic, spare Rode lav mics. I'll be taking along spares of everything essentially. So we've got a couple of rocket blowers. Because we have multiple people, and actually one of the topics that we're exploring in the download series of what I'm going to be teaching is that for this kind of event that we're photographing, you need to be over prepared and have redundancy. So we have that redundancy because I'm shooting it in real life, and then also what we need for the videographers. So it's pretty over the top, the amount of gear we have. Then a bunch of extra memory cards. I have quite a few memory cards, but I wanted to make sure we have more than enough in high speed, high capacity, high quality SD cards for all of the Sony cameras, because we'll be filming it in top quality 100 meg 4K. So we have a whole bunch of 128 gigabyte cards. I'm going to get to how we manage all of that data a little later. ND filters, then we've got the standard pop filters for the mics, and I've got big furry dead cats for outdoors as well, and more and more and more. So that's the video. Oh, and that is about 100 AA batteries, and we may, I doubt we'll go through all of them, but they are all charged and prepped and ready to go. Now, let me get the first bag over to one side. Second bag. Do a little reorganization. Okay, this pretty little guy is a companion weekender. I am extremely proud. I haven't officially announced it yet, but I'm actually an ambassador for companion. I've been using their bags for a while. They're gorgeous. So I would be taking this either way though. This will be my main bag for photography. I'm taking along a pair of D850s, which will be my main, well, it will be my full kit. So 24-70 and 105 f1.4. 70 to 200, 90mm macro, bunch of spare cards for videography, for stills, the 15 to 30 Tamron, the 85, again 85, 70 to 200 and a 105, and a 90mm macro is overkill, but it's for redundancy's sake, and a 50. And in just about every pocket you look, there's lens cloths and blowers and spare caps front and rear for all the different equipment. My spare D850 batteries, I've got 7 genuine batteries, and we're going to have a big charging station set up for the day. I've decided, actually I haven't decided, that's not true. I'm tossing up whether I'm going to take the grip along or not. I don't really need the extra frames per second for any of the shoots, so I may not, if nothing else, just for the sake of if I'm going from this camera to this camera, to have them both giving me the same results and not having a grip on one and not on the other. It's one less thing to think about. Okay, so that's stills and video if you add in the additional camera, 3 lenses and gimbal that are currently down with the videographer. Next, this one is small light and accessories. So we have a handheld diffuser and reflector to be able to shoot one-handed, bounce card, gels, another bounce card. This is a light stand modifier to be able to use small flashes on Bowen's mount equipment. So this is the adapter essentially. Where to begin? I've got 7 Pocket Wizard plus 3s there. Again, there's some redundancy in there. I have 6 manual speed lights. I have 1 auto speed light, which is the ProPhoto A1, spare battery for that. Then I have 2 triggers here. These are for Godox or Flashpoint, or they're rebranded as so many things. These are the Flashpoint ones. I'm taking along 2 Flashpoint lights. First is this little Evolve 200. It's a 200 watt second. It's, you know, about the size of a flash, a little bit bigger, but it gives you a fairly ridiculous amount of power. This, well, it's 200 watt second, so for a studio light, it's not that bright, but for a little flash, it gives me about 3 standard flashes worth of juice, 500 full power shots on that one little battery. More gels and a spare trigger because redundancy. I wonder how many times I have to say redundancy before it becomes itself redundant. Ooh, postmodern. Okay, it's a Friday afternoon, as I said, and I'm a little delirious. It's been a crazy day, week, month, year. There's more. Of course there's more. Let's get some more. This is one of the light modifiers that uses a Bowen's mount that I'll be using on the day for a portrait section. Love these things. I bought this just recently. I've been using Westcott Rapids for quite a while, but I have the strip box and a large Octa, just in case. But this one is a beauty dish that just pops up like that. It's got so many struts, so you get quite a circular light. This is 24 inches. It's got the plate, so you've got the, you know, it bounces back, gives you the full beauty dish effect. It's got diffusion if you want it, and it packs down that small, that fast. And I can put this or my ProPhoto or one of the manual ones in there, and they all are going to work just perfectly. Let me get my ProPhoto up. Next, monopod. You guys watch Simpsons? I love this monopod. I got this from B&H for when I went to test out a couple of 400mm lenses recently. It's superb. I have a Gitzo monopod, which I like as well, but I think this is better. It goes really tall. I love the latches on it, and the feet, let me just set it up. Reminds me of like a robotic dinosaur or something. Gives you a nice platform, which then you can unlock and then have, you know, full pivot. So it's great for long lens work, but it's also great for videography. So they can, rather than being locked down on a tripod, they have a fair amount of stabilization. The Sonys have additional sensor stabilization, and we can really get some stable shots and save their arms, because this is going to be a huge day of work we're getting into. Next, this is the other flashpoint I'll be taking along. This is a studio strobe. This is the 600. I think they have a newer one now as well, but I like this one anyway. I have a pair of them, but I'm just taking one with spare battery. This is also, if you want to use it, TTL, pretty incredible. And battery pack, so just plug in the light. It's got a little LED as a modeling light, which I'd never really use. And again, it's Bowen's mount, so I can use the same things that I'm using for everything else. Put that bag down. But wait, yes, there is more. Because as well as I'm kind of doing two whole versions of this event in one day, I'll be doing the real job, and then I'll be cutting away the camera to talk through how I did, what I did, why I did different things and showing the results. So in case we need it for that, we have this diffused LED panel. This is a Photodiox flapjack. It's a really cool one because you don't need to carry any other diffusion. Most LEDs have the LEDs pointing straight out, and then you need to put like diffusion paper or fabric to soften it. These actually point inwards, so the total amount of light it can give you is not as high, but it comes out of here already diffused. That whole front is the size of it. So when the time is right, and if we need a little kick of light to separate me out from the background, we can throw this onto any light stand because it's nice and light. It just takes a couple of standard batteries or its V-mount, and then we can put a decent amount of light on to really lift the video quality. So that. But wait, there's more. Oh, I will be taking along a little weekender bag. This is because it's not full of gear, but I'll have this one with the majority of my equipment. If we were going around a much more dispersed area, or I'd be having to carry the bag the whole day, then I would take my photography equipment in a roller as well. But because I know there's short distances and I have safe places to put the bag, shoulder bag works for me. There'll be stairs as well, so that's more convenient than a roller. And then I'll be wearing two cameras on my black rapid straps that are packed in another bag. And then I'll have this with just a couple of spare lenses, accessories, memory cards in it, nice and light, so then I'm not carrying around every spare piece of equipment. And I'm just realizing as I say that, by making this video, I'm forcing myself to do double packing. I just packed all of this, and now I've just unpacked it all. Genius. Okay. In terms of supports, for the video team, we're going to have one on gimbal, one on monopod, and one on video tripod. So this is the Manfrotto MVT502AM medium size video fluid head tripod. It's not their latest nitro head. I've never used one of those, but it works beautifully. Really like this tripod, and I'm running out of space to put things. Huzzah. Okay, just a few more bags. Then for me, for some shots, I'm going to need a tripod. So this is my Gitzo, so we'll use the brand, the tag is almost worn off, GT1555T traveler tripod. I've got two traveler tripods. I prefer this one because it still packs down tiny, but it's got 4 sections, so it goes up that much higher. It means it is a little bit heavier because 3 sections means you're carrying less carbon, but I love these tripods. The head, everything about them is great. They cost double what another brand might cost. The only time they're a difficult choice is when you're first having to pay for it, and then for the next 10 years, you can just enjoy it. Now, the last thing I have here is actually, I think, the most expensive and one of the most important things on the day that we'll have there. And it's one that I'm going to take a little bit more care with. This, for a shoot like this, where we're shooting 3 video cameras, 2 stills cameras, behind the scenes photos, behind the scenes video, literally a cast of dozens of people involved, and months, countless hours of planning going into it. The last thing that I'm willing to take any chance of happening on the day is that a card could get corrupted, a card could get lost, a card could get broken, a camera could get dropped in the river, all things that could happen. So, my G-Tech shuttle. Now this is a beast. This is what I edit my 4K content off. You can do even higher res. You could probably do 6K or 8K depending on the number of streams you're doing. This is a Thunderbolt 3 enclosure. It's got the power supply and everything built in, so you just plug a cable in, plug a Thunderbolt 3 cable in, and then you're getting true something like 2,700 megabits per second of transfer speed. So taking along a laptop and a hub for cards. This is in RAID. We can dump everything on here like that. 128 gig card will empty in a minute or two, and then know that everything is safely backed up in RAID. We'll be keeping the cards unrecycled as well, so we have redundancy. And that's, you know, the most critical thing. At the end of the day, once all of these hundreds of hours and thousands of dollars of time and money have been invested into it, it's the footage I need to walk away with at the end of the day. So having this is actually, I can afford a camera to go down a lot more quickly than I can this guy. This is critical. Now, that's almost it, but there are still 2 more things to show you. So let me grab the camera and show you that. Okay, so firstly in this luggage I have a giant softbox, a giant 6-in-1 or whatever they are diffusion. I have the Lastalite arm for holding light modifiers up in the air, a weight which goes on this large light stand so that we can use bigger modifiers outdoors without worrying about them blowing over. I have 2 smaller light panels. This is another flapjack, and this is the Luxley Cello. This is a multicolor one that will do any color you can think of, you know, bright red or blue or whatever. Interesting as a little kicker. Then basically a bunch of light stands and heads for off-camera flash. And another critical one that isn't sexy or may not sound important at the beginning is all of the chargers. Because we have all of those Sony batteries, the new batteries perform really well, but still we can't afford to run out. So we have 5 chargers for those, 4 ports for the old Sonys, 3 ports for my Nikon, 4 ports for the LED batteries, a charger for the large strobe light, and for the small one, and for my Pro Photo. And we'll also have, they're actually still charging, but these are the batteries for those lights. And then up the back, my PowerX 8-bay battery charger. This thing will do, it's from Maha, you can see in the background there. It'll do 8 super high capacity batteries in an hour. If I do take the grip, I will take along my charger for the big battery. And at the center of that will be a couple of power boards that have built-in surge protection, USB ports. This one is a tower that I got on Amazon. We'll take a strip one as well. Oh, and what I didn't show, but is packed into each of my companion bags, is a white balance disc. Okay, so this is the white balance thing I was saying, really handy if you're going to be shooting in a bunch of different environments for video or stills, to be able to take a custom white balance reading on a day where you might take loads of photos. Knowing that you have white balanced can really save you some time. I know you can fix that in post, but sometimes I find the results just aren't great, and sometimes I struggle with it to get exactly looking perfect, but using the white balance disc you can get it pretty damn close straight out of the box. Okay, so definitely my most over the top what's in my bag. but it's not over the top in the sense of we have things that we don't need. Redundancy is really important. If a piece of equipment goes down, it can't stop our ability to be able to film or shoot the scene and get the job done. I can't easily reassemble everyone to do this again in a month's time to do pickup shots. So over the 14 or 16 hours that we'll be filming that day, I need to get everything and know that even if, you know, rare thing like a primo lens or body or this or that were to fail, then we can still keep the show rolling and deal with repairing the gear the following day. Leave me your questions. Do check out the links above in the cards and below if you want to see details on any of this ridiculous amount of equipment. And stay tuned, full details about what exactly it is that we're filming and shooting in the tutorial series will be coming out on the YouTube channel in the next couple of weeks. Make sure you signed up to the mailing list as well, because they're going to hear about it first. Thanks guys, have a great weekend, I'll see you soon.